Today we are looking at Mikhail Tal's first ever recorded chess game played in 1949 when he was just 12 years old. This game matters because it proves something shocking. Tal didn't become aggressive later. He was born this way on the chessboard. At an age when most players are learning basic principles, Tal was already sacrificing material, attacking the king, and playing with fearless confidence. So the real question is, how could a 12-year-old already think like a future world champion? So stay till the end because this game reveals the exact mindset that made Mikhail Tal the most dangerous attacker in the chess history. So let's start with the game. Here Mikhail Tal's opponent Ratomir Kholomo with white pieces and Mikhail Tal with black. Here Ratomir Kholomo starts with the move c4, the English opening. After the move e6, I think they are planning to go into this Queen's Gambit declined variation because after these some moves you can see we get to see this exact same setup of this Queen's Gambit declined variation. So now we have c6 Slav defense, and after some few moves you can see Mikhail Tal has developed his g8 knight to f6 and his opponent tries to pin this knight to the queen, but Mikhail Tal first captures this pawn, and after this opponent's counter strike in the center, he's attacking this pawn, but Mikhail Tal says okay, I don't care, I just defend this pawn. But now we will see, now Mikhail Tal loses this knight because of this e5 move. This knight is pinned to the queen, cannot move or he will lose the queen. And now what we will do, but these openings are some tricky. We have a counter attack a6 move. If bishop goes back, then we just counter attack, and after this you can see we can save this knight. But let's look what has happened in the game. In the game he took this knight with the bishop. We have g takes f6 and e takes f6. Now we have bishop to g4, pinning this knight to the king. Stockfish suggested to first capture this pawn, but it doesn't matter because Mikhail Tal first prioritizes his development, and after developing this bishop, Mikhail Tal captures this pawn on f6. So only move order changed, nothing different. So after castling, Mikhail Tal eliminates this knight on this c3 square. We have b takes c3 and now knight d7, finally developing this knight on this b8 square. And now you can see this bishop is still undeveloped, but it can go to this b7 square, from which you will get a long little diagonal which will help Mikhail Tal in the further game to perform a very beautiful game. So stay tuned till the last of the game. Now we have a4, threatening to this little pawn chain like this, but Mikhail Tal refuses and just prioritizes his development. His strategy is right because if he takes, then it would activate a white rook and it would allow to target some weaknesses and allow some piece activity for his pieces. So in this position Mikhail Tal chooses the right move, bishop b7, because if he takes, then we would take and still we have a great pawn chain maintained like this. Now we have knight e5. This was a real mistake because now this knight can take, and after pawn takes we can take this pawn and Mikhail Tal becomes 2 pawns up from this position. So I don't think what was the logic behind that move, but yes, Mikhail Tal is now 2 pawns up. Here you can see h6, f7, e6, c6, c4, b5 and a7. These are all 7 pawns, and in exchange white had just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns. So you can see there is 5 versus 7. Now Vladimir Retimov plays bishop to f3, just guarding these pawns and activating his bishop, and also his next plan is to go rook e1 and get tempo on this queen, get a free file for this rook. But you know, Mikhail Tal is famous for not allowing his opponent's plan to execute while his plan is being executed. So this pawn is free, but Mikhail Tal first prioritizes again development and plays rook to d8, attacking this queen. Queen moves on this c2 square, and this costed the whole game. Can you find why? Because yes, Mikhail Tal played rook to d3, and now you will say, okay, Mikhail Tal is attacking this pawn twice and it is only once defended with white queen, so he is going to win the pawn. But no, you see Mikhail Tal's style is very sacrificing and attacking. So after this a takes b5, now you will understand the plan was not to take this pawn but to sacrifice the rook and take this bishop. Oh my god. 12-year-old Mikhail Tal, first ever recorded game, and still sacrifices. This proves that Mikhail Tal's first and last ever game was beautiful and the person itself was very beautiful. Now let's try to decode what's the logic behind this move. You can see if g takes on f3, you can see this king becomes very open and it invites various attacks on this king with rook to g8 check, king to h1, and now we can just go c takes b5 or c5, doesn't matter. we are threatening on this f3 pawn. The queen will be forced to defend it, and now we will play queen to f4, again applying some more pressure. So now there could be various options. Rook to g1 is an option, but then we will have this bishop takes f3 check. The king is smothered, the queen has to be sacrificed. If queen sacrificed, then this is a simple mate like this, and if rook blocks, then we can just take this rook with the bishop, and it is supported with a rook. King will be forced to go on this g1 square, and now we will play bishop to h3. We are blocking off this escaping route, so the king will be forced here, and again queen to e4 check, taking the advantage of this open diagonal. Now after f3, we go bishop g2 check, king g1, and queen e3, a beautiful checkmate like this. So you see, Mikhail Tal's game are not that easy to decode. So in this position, his opponent refuses to take this rook and first plays rook takes a7. His plan was to go rook a8 check and create some threats or checks on this king, but you can see this bishop is there to guard this a8 square, and if you run behind to take this bishop, then there is your king to be checkmated. So Mikhail Tal in this position captures this pawn, and here at this exact moment Ratimir Kholmo don't know what he thinks and accepts the sacrifice of Mikhail Tal. G takes f3. One time you should offer resignation, but never accept Mikhail Tal's sacrifices, because in this position we have queen to g5 check, a very nice check, because after king g1 we have rook to g8, a brilliant move. We are sacrificing this bishop and saying just take it, because your king is going to be checkmated like this. And in this position, if he doesn't capture this bishop, and let's say he plays rook to g1, then we will just take this rook, because this rook has no support from this back rank, and on the contrary we have support of this rook. So after this brilliant rook to g8 move, his opponent Ratimir Kholmo resigned, and this is how we got the first masterpiece by 12-year-old Mikhail Tal. If you liked this video, please subscribe to our channel for more such videos like this.